Well, welcome to First Fridays with Marissa and Chris. We are co-hosting. We are super excited. We will be talking all things business. Hey, welcome, welcome. We're excited and please be engaged. Make sure that you let us know that you are in the house with us. Ask any questions you would like. We want this to be an engaging environment. And we, again, are talking all things business, right, Chris?
Yep, all things and more.
And more and more. And so this is First Fridays because we want to dedicate the first fruits of the month to God and let him have his way in our businesses, our lives, and everything. And so we're really excited to be here. I just want to share a little bit of my heart, and then Chris can kind of chime in on how we came together in regards to producing this show. Chris is one of my coaching clients, which and also a dear friend. It has so evolved, and that's what relationships between coaches and their clients do. It's organic, and you're dealing with so many different challenges and building your businesses and overcoming. So ultimately, a good coaching and client relationship turns into a friendship, a long-term friendship. And so in our conversations, we talked about some of the challenges that business owners, really face during this process. Hey, Latricia. We really talked about some of the challenges. And what I really like about the conversations that Chris and I have is they're very candid about the stigmas, the challenges that we face. Some of the things that we are looking for to get in our business that we haven't been able to see. And so, that was our heart, was to really share with our audience some of the ways that we've overcome some of the challenges, to get some engagement from you to see what challenges are you facing, what are the stigmas that you face as a business owner that has maybe stifled you from pursuing or succeeding in your business adventures. And so, Chris, what was your heart on? I share a little bit of my heart. What was your heart about coming forward and just really being transparent and sharing with the audience?
I agree with everything that you said. One of the things that when I first met Marissa, we actually met on another platform, actually Leroy Allen's platform. Hey, Leroy. And one of the things that I shared with her as she invited me to be featured in her magazine, and almost immediately, I fell in love with this woman, and I saw so much of myself in her. And I said to her, I need you to coach me. And I know that I knew I needed her. I had prayed for coaches, really for mentors, for a very, very long time. And one of the things that I said to her is, I've always been an entrepreneur all of my adult life, but I've never done business correctly across the board. I never had all my ducks in a row. Not because I didn't desire to, because I really just didn't know how. So that is how our connection started. But as she said, it has evolved from, the mentor coaching into, it's still, that relationship is still there. But as she said, and not with all relationships, but those that are authentic and ordained evolve
Yes.
into more than just the transactional piece. So, I'm thankful for this sister in my life. She has helped me to grow and to stretch and to learn. I learned a lot from what I see her do, not what she says, but what I actually see her model, and how she helps others. And just I see a lot of myself in her on another level. And the way that I've always been all of my life, and I'll give you an example. I did hair for 20 years and I owned a salon. I never wanted to be the best hairstylist in the salon. I wanted to be one of the best and surround myself with those who were much better than me so I could always glean and learn and grow. So she is one of those women for me who's doing it on a whole nother level, better than me, so I can glean and grow. So that's what's on my heart, and that's what I want to share. Um,
Oh, Yeah. And so I want to share with you what one of the encounters we had during our sessions was the fact that Chris has multiple businesses. And I know in dealing with coaches in the past, there is a concern when you're doing multiple businesses, like, oh, you really should focus in on one area or one particular profile or avatar of a client. And so I shared with Chris a release that, listen, big companies don't focus in one particular area. We talk about multiple streams of income, right? We're always talking about, well, how do you have multiple streams of income if you're focused on one particular profile of a client? If that profile, no longer is relevant, then you got to reinvent the wheel again. And so I always encourage entrepreneurs that you have to shift from that entrepreneurial mindset into a CEO mindset. And the CEO mindset sees the bigger picture. It sees all those different avenues of how that business can make money. When one part of the business is on a low turnaround, the other business can be on a high turnaround. So you always want to have multiple streams of income, especially if something is associated with seasons or conditions, external conditions that are not controllable by the company. You want to be able to make sure. So I told him when Chris and I first started talking, we started our session, it was like, oh my God, you're building an empire. I so applauded her for being courageous enough to not count it robbery, to have her hands in multiple different things. We're taught to have investments. That's a business too. That's a part of your business, to have investments, to make sure that your portfolio is set up correctly and that it's producing you results financially, right? And so, we talk about that. And so we want to just give some shout outs to some folks. Katrina has joined in. Thank you for joining in, Katrina. Thank you so much. We know that we have Latricia on. You saw Leroy? He was on?
No, I was just giving him a shout out because if it was not for his platform, we might not have met.
No.
And he's an awesome business owner as well, and leadership coach. And he shares his platform with a lot of leaders, and I appreciate that. And that's how we connected, through that platform. And one of the things that you were talking about, and it made me remember why I understood that I can do more than one thing. I was watching T.D. Jakes, who was my mentor from afar, and and one of the things that he said, because he does a lot, he said that don't let people put you in a box. When he started to do the films and the music and all the other things that he started to do, people tried to put him in a box. Well, aren't you just a preacher? Aren't you a pastor? Aren't you, just that? And he says, no, I'm multiple things. So that was my, kind of my, I guess my ocular demonstration of, yes, I can be a preacher. Yes, I can be an entrepreneur. Yes, I can have multiple businesses. And I did that because God told me to. When COVID first hit, my young adult children, all of them found themselves without jobs. So the Lord spoke to me and said, ask them what they want to do and build a business around it. So that's what I've done. So, and to teach them entrepreneurship, because I've been an entrepreneur all of my adult life. All of my employment was really in high school, except for one time when God made me go work for Circuit City. So look, and he had a purpose for 6 months to teach me humility, because I had none. Because I worked for myself, all the time. I didn't have to answer to anybody. So God had me go work a seasonal position at Circuit City. But other than that, I've always, I had owned a couple of salons. I've always sold things, pocketbooks, jewelry, T-shirts, everything you can name. I sold Amway, Avon. I mean, the whole gamut. So, I'm not new to doing the entrepreneurship thing, but he wanted me to incorporate my children, and what the name that he gave me, or what he said to me, is to build a family dynasty. So
Yeah.
they would always have their own, and to start to build that legacy with them. So that's what I'm doing. And, is it easy? No, absolutely not. With God, all things are possible. So, and he's given me tools and people, as such as yourself, in my life, to teach me the things that I need to know, the things that I don't know, how to grow and expand, how to go from entrepreneurship to CEO. So those are the things that I'm gleaning and learning from you. And when we talked about doing this show, we talked about how, you know, some, and I'm not going to say all coaches, but some, are coaching, all of these strategies and methods, and people don't know how to really apply them practically. So we wanted to talk about those kinds of things, because everything is not cookie cutter.
No.
Everything, even the things that you tell me to do, some things don't fit. I
Right.
have to take what fits, the parts that fit, the things that are, to put in my DNA, to put in my arsenal, that will work for my thing. So we just wanted to help people with that, because people get stuck.
Yep. Yep. They do. They get stuck, and they need the ability. What coaching is designed to do is not to do the work for you. It's to create an environment for the client to actually have a strategy session. So let's talk about what it is you want to do. By the end of those sessions, you need to be able to come away with some level of clarity and what's next. You need to definitely be able to do that. And so my experience, having coaches is sometimes they're caught up in so much of their own formula that there's no strategy sessions for them to actually help you to begin to find your own formula. So I work with four different editors in chiefs of their magazine. There's been 4 offsprings of the Own It magazine, and I have my model and the way that I do things with the magazine, but I also encourage them every time I meet with them to coach with them. This is your baby. See, that's the beauty of having a CEO mindset, is that you are the one that's in charge. So to give that autonomy and help them to release, so that they don't feel like they have to do things exactly like this, because it's not going to always work for you. Just like you said, you have to be able to be able to make your own decisions, to be able to make and feel free, because when you have a worker's mindset, so you share something that's very critical to an entrepreneur, is that you've had that exposure to working for yourself. So what's happening with many entrepreneurs who work full time, plus they're trying to do their business, they still have that worker's mentality. In the coaching environment should be a time in which the coach is strategically helping that individual, that client, step away from and transition from being a worker bee, so to speak, always having to do a 9 to 5. Because reality is, when you have your own business, it isn't a 9 to 5. No matter how much you try to fit yourself into, I'm gonna start at 9 and end at 5. No, it does not work. If you're really working a thriving business, I was up till 3 this morning working on a project. That's what happens with CEOs. That's what happens with big time achievers. Even if you're a VP of someone else's company, you're not going to bed every day at 8 o'clock. Sometimes you have an 8 o'clock PM night, and then other times you don't.
Right.
You got to do what you have to do to bring it to the, and so what happens in the coaching environment should be that evolution of you coming out of one, you having strategy sessions to find your own way. How does this work for you? Because if you're doing everything like everyone else, you just look like, what's differentiating you from anyone else? You look just like everyone else. And so, because, so you want to, in those sessions, it should be an explosion of the client coming into the fullness of what it is. What do we talk about? Proper alignment, them coming into alignment with their design and what created to do and how they were wired to do it and deliver it, it's not going to be the same. And it shouldn't be the same. We need
Amen.
we need people that need to be different. Dare to be different.
Yes.
You know, because
Absolutely.
sometimes I see, I see others, presenters and speakers, and they're so polished, but they all sound the same.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
excitability. Where are you different? Where can I see that spike up of your passion about what it is that you are presenting? And how are you connecting to your products, your goods, your services? What's your why? And why would I want to work with you if I don't see you excited about what you know what I mean?
Right.
That comes from really aligning with your design and what you really, and that should come in that coaching session. It shouldn't be all about the coach's agenda and their model and what they do. I always say what I'm presenting to you is the framework, but make it your own. Take it, dismantle it. Just like you said, take out what you want and put in, take out what you really like and then put in and take out what you don't like, but make it your own, make it your own. It has to feel good to you, because I know I was up till 3 a.m., but I was loving it. I didn't feel like, and when you up to 3 a.m., a lot of times it's like, okay, now I gotta go to sleep because and I thought about it, it's like, okay, I gotta be on with Chris at 12.
Right. Well, I promise you, I won't be up at 3. But let's continue. Let's continue on the other side of this break. Let's take a commercial break real quick, and then come back. And I'll tell you again, I promise you, I won't be up till 3 a.m. But that's the blessing of being the CEO. So let's take this commercial break real quick.
We are back.
Yes.
I love that commercial. Very beautiful. Beautiful jewelry. Porcelain jewels, right? Porcelain jewels.
Yes. That is one of my businesses. I want to give a shout out to Letitia Wesley. Hello, woman of God. Thank you, and welcome to our first segment. Thank you for tuning in. But I just wanted to go back to every time you said I was up till 3 a.m. I was like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to function at 3 o'clock on the computer. But and the blessing is, with being an entrepreneur, you can set your own agenda, and that is the beauty of it. If I want to be up at 3 a.m., I can. If I want to start my work time at 12 to 3 a.m., I can. But as long as you're working your business on a daily, everyday basis, and with me, with multiple businesses, I have to every week write down what I'm working on that day. I do not work on every business every day. I cannot. I write down what needs to be done in each business every week, and then I check it off by priority. If I have something that's priority in porcelain jewels, then that will be at the top of my list. But I'm not working in every single business every single day, because I can't, because I'm only one person. And sometimes that's what happens. We get so overwhelmed, that we don't do anything because we think we got too much to do. But when you map it out, and you know what you have to do, especially taking it out of your head, and
Oh,
putting it on paper. Because if you keep all that stuff in your head, it will overwhelm you. You have to write it down. And what doesn't get done on that day, I take it and put it on the agenda for the next day until I get to it. And some things are time, are labeled time is of the essence. Then those things are at the top of my agenda. But I do not work on every business every day, but I work in my businesses every day, whichever ones those happen to be.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. And you said something. There's a couple of things that you said that were very important. And so I have set days. So Monday through Wednesday are my, business days where I am doing business. And then
Mm-hmm.
on Friday, Thursday, and Friday, I meet with my clients. And those are from sun up to sundown. I have them and on those 2 days because I'm in a coaching flow. So you have to know, depending on what type of business you have, what flows are required. So Monday to Wednesday have to be my creativity flows. They have to be my refreshing, time to just woosah, just relax and kind of just get those juices flowing for creativity, having conversations with business opportunities, new business. And then, like I said, Thursday and Friday are client. Because when I'm in the coaching flow, I can't be in the creative flow. I can't jump in and out of coaching, giving advice to now, making this thing look beautiful and wonderful and meeting with my team. It has to be. So that's why it's important for you to know yourself, know how to flow, and remember to be, kind of go easy on yourself, because as you're building your business, you're learning your business as well. You're learning it as well. There's going to be areas where you need to tweak some things, but you have to be on a heightened level of awareness. So my approach to coaching is always self-awareness, then it's self-development, and then self-development leads you to self-mastery, because self-awareness is knowing what makes you tick and what ticks you off, how you flow with things.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and then self-development is what? Is recognizing what makes you tick, what ticks you off, and how do you regulate between all of that? How do you get around all of that? What do you need to improve about yourself? And I always do a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? What are your mindset? And self-development is all about mindset shifting too. You've got to allow yourself to be open to change your mind about some things that are critical in you changing your attitude towards it, and ultimately your behavior, so that ultimately your goal is to get the results that you want in your life, your business, and everywhere else. And then it's self-mastery. It's knowing how to regulate, knowing how to create those boundaries and stick to them so that you learn how to flourish in your business. You also said something too, that if you don't do these things, that you become overwhelmed and you don't do anything. And that's what happens. And that's what most people, because you're working a full-time job, plus you're trying to do your business, you don't have the transitional part that will allow you to safely, securely transition from working from somebody to working for yourself. So in that process, you get overwhelmed because you don't have a strategy. You get overwhelmed, you get paralyzed. And a lot of times that's when people do what? Cave in and quit. Oh, I can't do all of that. Or they settle and they'll do a hustle, not a business. And so it's designed that being intentional, not having a strategy will paralyze you. And sometimes even when you do have a strategy and you are intentional, sometimes you could just get bombarded. And if you're not careful and you don't master that self-talk that will talk you out of being paralyzed, then you'll get cave in and quit. You'll sleep all day instead of getting things done. The other thing that you mentioned was writing things down. And I know that's what something that we did very early on in the relationship was write it down. You did a beautiful PowerPoint. This girl, Chris, did this amazing PowerPoint. And that's when we started talking about how, it was recognizable that you didn't just have a business, you have an empire. That you are building an empire, but you'll never see that if you don't write it down. You'll never see the amount of work and the value of the work that you're doing if you don't write it down. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. Why? So that
Yes,
you see
yes,
it and you can run with it. But if it's all up in here and something
yes.
happens to your brain, then guess what? Nobody can follow you. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta write it down. You gotta take the time, and that's a lot of that's one of the biggest thing that I see amongst entrepreneurs is two things. One, either they're not writing it down, they don't have their business plan in place, or they have a phenomenal business plan, but they have no real life application of how to implement the plan.
Give me those three points again. I want to put that in the chat because that is good. The self mastery and the other two before
Okay, so
that.
it's self-awareness. So you know who you are and what you're made of. Self-development is the process of improving yourself. Is investing in yourself. This is the part where a lot of us, and especially minorities or people of color, don't do. We don't invest in ourselves. And that means in a coach, and you're going to have to feel your way through some coaches, a coach, certifications,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that you need to, in any further training, research about the industry that you're in, knowing what the industry yields as far as profits. And then in all of that, when you're developing yourself, what are you doing? You're mastering who you are. You're becoming very proficient in who you are. When you're showing up in conversations, when you're showing up in relationships, when you're showing up for your business, you will master the ask. So another thing that I have been working with my clients is to make them understand that you are the sales team. Like you gotta, but if you don't go out here and start selling, then you know what is real nice. You got nice jewelry, but if you're not selling, if you're not making people take action to do a transaction with you, you'll never get the money. It's nice that we have books, and even working with authors, it's wonderful that we have all these books and we have all of these, training programs and all of this good stuff. But if you don't sit across the table and say to someone, here's what I have, if you don't value it enough not to under negotiate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you will never make any money. So you'll always work for someone else because you won't have enough money in your house to pay for the things that you want for you to live.
Yeah.
So you have to write the vision so that you begin to value the vision.
Right.
You have to work your business so you begin to value your business. And when you sit at the table to negotiate, you won't undersell your business because you now have bought into the value of it. You know what you've done to produce it. You know that it's a good product. You know that you are a good product. Doing business with you is going to really enhance or bless the person that, your potential client, customer, that, and you will not undersell yourself.
Amen.
That's why it's so important to do the administrative part of your business as opposed to just having these beautiful things that we have. This is great. Why is it great for someone else to buy it? And that's where you have to come up with. But so go ahead.
We're almost at the end of our show, but I wanted to bring out one point that I think is really, really important when you talked about what I call that inner self chatter. You have to silence that when it's negative. You have to put the truth on it, because that inner self chatter comes from either you or it comes from the enemy. And you have to know what the truth is. So if you're hearing the loudness of you're not enough, that you can't do it, then you have to put the word on it. And the word is truth. And the truth is, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. The truth is, I am the apple of God's eye. So we have to silence that inner self chatter, because it will stop you from doing everything if you don't know how to silence that. You cannot totally eradicate it, but you have to overcome it with what's true, not your feelings, not your emotions, but what is true. Well, what's true?
Mhm.
The word of God. The word of God is always true.
It's true.
It never lies. Our feelings lie to us all the time. Other people lie to us all the time. But you have to silence that inner
Yes.
self chatter. So we are at the end of our show already. Can you believe that?
Can you believe it?
Wow. It's been good already. I'm
Yes.
thankful. I thank you for the people that have tuned in,
Yes.
but I want to make sure that you all know how to get in touch with us, how to follow us. And this is how you can follow Marissa at all of her social media platforms and her websites.
Mhm.
And also, let me pull that up. Uh, where is it? Her beautiful magazine.
Ooh, that's such a beautiful cover. I love that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A beautiful woman is on it. So, ah, I'm trying to hide something. There you go. So you can see the fullness of it. Her
Yes.
Own It magazine. I love, absolutely love the name of your whole, of of your business and magazine. Take center stage. Not just take center stage, but once you take it, then you own it. Come on here. I love it. So you can go to her website and uh, see all the things that she does, because this
Mhm.
woman does a lot. So let me get out of here, girl. Trying to do all these things
I know,
um, is more than a notion, isn't it? But
right?
we getting her done. And also with me,
Yeah.
you can go to my website, which is Porcelain Jewels, and purchase our beautiful jewels for a beautiful you at porcelain-jewels.com. You also can go to, let me find it. You can also, bear with me, go
Mhm.
to my website to purchase my books, restorationspeaks.com. I have several books in the series, as well as some anthologies that I am a part of. That's restorationspeaks.com. And I think that's all we have today.
Yes, yes, yes. What an awesome show. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's always easy when you're working with somebody that you one admire, one that you don't mind following, because I don't follow everybody.
Right. I know that's the
That's
truth, Chris.
that's for one. I don't follow everybody. No, I do not. You have to be worth the following. So I'm thankful for our connection.
Yes.
And I can't wait till the next first
Yes.
Friday.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Latricia says she does everything but sleep. I do
Right.
sleep. I do. I do. But I love it. When you are aligned with your divine purpose. I love it.
Yes. And that's good. That's when it's passion. And one of the things that the Lord gave me years ago, and I said it to my daughter who had just graduated high school, and she was talking about how everybody was going to college and she didn't know what she was going to do. And I said, "Well, what is your passion?" And she shared with me what her passion was. And I said, "Well, make your passion pay."
Yes.
And that's what we need to do. Make your passion pay
Hey.
you. Whatever you're passionate about, it should be paying you. So with that said, my dear, we need to end our our segment as we said. But I want to put this one last thing in the chat before we go. Did you want to say anything else to our viewers?
Yes, just we're here every first Friday. So, just make sure that you tune in. And this is the first fruits of the month. So, and then we also want to hear from you. So, if you have any topics or anything that you want us to discuss or you want to engage in, please do not count it robbery. Share with us, follow us, connect with us on Facebook if you're not connected with us on Facebook already, or our other social media platforms. Connect with us. We want to hear from you, because this is really us having a dialogue about the things that are not always spoken about. When it comes to business and comes to coaching, it comes from getting advice to being successful in our businesses, in our life, in our careers. So we want to hear from you. We want this to be engaging.
Yes. And one last thing, subscribe to our YouTube channel at First Fridays with Marissa and Chris. And do not forget to click that bell. So every time we go live, you'll get the notification. And you will also be able to view us on the VBN network.
Awesome.
On Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
Awesome.
So that is it for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope that this has been enlightening for you. It was been fun for us. And we will see you again next First Friday.
Take care, everybody. Have a blessed month.